So our final presentation of this session is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be delivered by Allan Ryan, who is the founder of the Hargrave Institute and an adjunct professor at the University of Technology Business School in Sydney. That is where I've been told to stop. Allan would like to introduce himself. All I can promise is that he's going to challenge us to think outside the box. Thanks, Allan.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. You've been sitting there for 3 presentations and I'm between you and afternoon tea. So can I just ask everyone to stand up, uncrease your bum, move around a little bit, refocus. Okay? Now what I'd like you to do is just look around, and if you don't know someone's face that's near you, introduce yourself to someone that you don't know that's near you and just say hello, who you are, what you're doing. Just quickly stand up and have a look. So thank you. You're having too much fun. Can I ask you to sit down, thank you, please? So in my presentation, I want to declare that I know absolutely nothing about sheep. I know nothing about sheep genetics, and what I want to focus on in the next 20 minutes or so is you as business people and you as leaders of businesses, and what do you need to think about for the future purely from a leadership and business perspective. So for the next 20 minutes, put the sheep aside and let's just think businesses, because we're all running businesses here. So that's me. What I always like to start off with, and yes, this is me on a bicycle, nearly, half of me anyway. You've heard the saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert said that back in the 1950s. What I say for today, though, is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. And what I mean by that is the world is changing so fast around us. A lot of the things you've learned over your 5, 10, 20, 30 years in farming and business will not help you go forward because the world is changing around you. So you have to change with it. A lot of the things you do will stay and you will be doing those things forever. Some things have to change. So as a successful business and a successful leader, you have to learn how to change. So we're going to ask you a question. If you've got the Slido, there's a poll coming up for Slido. So this is a survey done, top 10 CEO business priorities for 2022, 2023. 410 CEOs around the world were asked the question, what's keeping you awake at night? Now, if you go to your Slido, you should see a poll, because what I want you to do is tell me the very first priority that's keeping them awake at night is growth. I've given you 4 choices or 4 or 5 choices, and I can't move the slide forward, otherwise I'll reveal the answers, and I forgot that. Can you see the poll on Slido? You have to pick one answer that you believe is the next answer. What is the next thing that is keeping CEOs awake at night after growth? And can we get the poll, just wait a sec. We're looking for the next thing that should be keeping you awake at night. I think the answer is fairly clear and it's wrong. It's actually right, I'm just being rude. Workforce is an increasing high priority for all CEOs everywhere, and the 2 things that are driving CEOs to change is technology-related stuff and workforce. And the reason why I put this slide up is, did you notice the little arrow that says workforce has moved up from 5th 3 years ago? The whole world is having issues with workforce. The whole world is trying to organise how to develop better workforces, maintain them, keep them, and it is as important as all the new technology stuff. So I want to just focus on that because that's what I really want to focus on. So a lot of the technology stuff, yes, you have to do it. You have to keep up with the latest tech, and I saw the lovely presentations outside. You have to do it, and the next most important thing is workforce. That also, for a lot of people here, includes families as a priority. So that was the poll. So I looked at the Australian Beef Sustainability Framework, and there were 4 elements in it. There was beef, there was best animal care, environmental stewardship, people and community, and economic resilience. And to be sustainable, my presentation is focused on, you've got to make money in order to be sustainable, to look after the people, to look after the animals and the land, and you've got to look after your people to be sustainable. They actually come in that order from my perspective. You have to stay in business and be profitable so that you can then look after your people and look after your animals and look after your land. So here's another, this is not a poll one, this is a guesstimate one. I didn't do a poll for this one. So we did a survey. This is a major global company called McKinsey in February 23, so it's absolutely recent. There are 2 types of organisations. There's organisations on the left which performance-driven companies focus on goal orientation, challenging their performance and being top-down driven leaders. And on the other side, you've got people-focused companies which are nurturing their staff, caring for their staff and encouraging their staff to improve. And there is a group in the middle. And the group in the middle are what are called people and performance winners. And when you look at the little graph on the side there, it says 21% of all the companies are driving for goals. 16% of all companies are driving to look after their people. And 9% of companies, which are the highest performing companies, are doing a bit of both, and they're doing one thing that's different. That's not in either or. And also, there are 55% of companies that aren't in the race as being a high-performing company. Would anyone like to yell out what that word is underneath the yellow thing? Anyone? Don't want to give you a clue. Gotcha, haven't I? I like that one. What makes the highest performing organisations today is that they collaborate with other organisations. The highest performing organisations today and leaders know that they can't do it all themselves. They have to work with other people. And they've got to chase the goals. And they've got to look after their staff. And collaboration is the thing that drives them to be successful. So what I want to focus on in the rest of my presentation is how you collaborate. How you do that thing that's different, that makes a difference. I will leave it to you to focus on goal orientation and caring, and I'm going to focus on collaboration, and I really want to focus on why some people fail. Because a lot of presentations, you get up here and you say, oh, do this and you do that and you do that, and all you have to do is do all these things. What is it? Walk more, eat less, and I'll be thinner, right? Why aren't I thinner? Simply because I fail at walking more, eating less. So I want to focus just for a minute on why you will fail at achieving change and the results for that so that you can learn about that before we go on to the goody two-shoes stuff. So here we go. Why do leaders fail? The first reason why leaders fail is rigidity. Not making a decision is making a decision. Companies that make change during the tough times prosper in the good times. You will fail if you're faced with a problem and you don't do anything about it. You go, oh, I don't know what to do, so I won't do anything. I'm worried, I haven't got the data, so I won't do anything. And that will cause you to fail. Good leaders, even in the tough times, do stuff, right? Dependence on direction. In the face of uncertainty, we look to others to show us the way. So when you're faced with a tough problem as a leader, you're saying, oh, well, they're doing that, I'll do that. That's what they're doing, I'll follow them. Which means you're not thinking. Which means you're just following the herd, right? If it's the right way to go, then it's fine, but if it's not, it's not. So you will fail if you don't do anything, and you will fail if you just follow the herd. And finally, erratic behaviour, trying things without waiting to see if they worked. And this is something that I'm absolutely certain with genetics that you don't, because you've got to do all the work and take all the measurements and wait a year or two and work it out so you know how to wait for results. You will fail in business if you suddenly realise you've got a problem and you try this, but then you don't wait to see, oh, then I'll try that. No, hang on a minute, then I'll try this, is way worse than not doing anything at all. Now, those three reasons were generated by someone way smarter than me. My three reasons why you will succeed, is 2 heads are better than 1 versus trying to do everything yourself. If you want to succeed moving forward and you are stuck with a tough problem, ask for help, talk to somebody else, get some results, because if you can't solve it, at least you can try to talk to somebody else. Not just do as you're told, but learn from somebody else. Second is you'll succeed if you ask different people. There's no point asking a whole bunch of people that just the same age, same sex, work in the same industry, have got the same experiences, are going to give you the same answer, because they're not going to help you think differently. You have to get diverse opinions, like speaking to crazy scientists, like you've heard for the last 2 presentations, is the best thing you can do, than speaking to a whole bunch of people like yourself. And finally, this is the one I want to focus on, is what's called the communication gap versus the empathy gap. The biggest problem that leaders have is that they look through their own eyes and believe what they see and do what they see. And they don't really understand it. I can't tell my teenage kids what to do because they're teenage kids and I'm an old fart. The biggest issue with leadership is I understand what's going on, I know what's happening, and you actually don't. So what I'd like to do is give you a challenge. We're going to watch a 2-minute video and see if you can see what's in the video. I think, let's press all the buttons. Here we go. Are we working? There's sound in the video.
Watch this next sequence carefully. At the end, I'll ask you a question about what you've seen.
Hi, I'm Matthew Singh, and today we're in Portobello Road, and I'm going to show you guys a classic in magic, using matches. And today to help me out is Mark. Mark, tell you what, let's your hand up for me nice and flat. Now I promise this one, alright? So there's the idea, let's just line this up, and close up that nice and tight. Here we go, watch this.
Keep watching.
I don't know if you felt that or not. I'll tell you what, have a look inside. Open it up. See how the match is actually returned into the book, and it's still burnt. Okay, you're not impressed. Alright, it was my first trick ever. But here's the idea. Just place that back in your hand, close it up, and turn it face down again if you can. Now we're going to use one more thing, and we're going to use a magician's best friend, playing cards. Now the idea is really simple, we're going to choose one, so take anyone back. Okay. Have a look for yourself, and do me a favour, show the camera as well if you can. Brilliant, and you know what, place it back face up on the deck. Now, it doesn't matter if I see what the card is, because we're going to do something completely different. Just watch this. Here we go. Follow it slowly. Watch the king. I don't know if you felt that or not. Tell you what, have a look inside. Open it up. That's hard. Check it out. See, king of diamonds. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Did you watch the trick closely? This is a famous illusion called inattention blindness. This illusion is not about the magic. While watching the routine, you may or may not have noticed the changes taking place. The question is, how many changes did you see? Was there 1, were there 3, or were there 5? The answer is there were 3 changes. The first change was the red hanky to a green one. The second was his shirt swapping to a t-shirt. The last was his assistant becoming a completely different person. How many did you see?
So why is it that you didn't see these 2 changes? And the reason is that the brain receives so much information on its eyes that you can't see everything simultaneously. So instead it picks and chooses according to what it thinks is important. If you change something that it doesn't think is important, you just literally don't see it.
How many people picked the 3 changes? Hands up. Hands up. It's a trick. It's a video. The message is clear though, is that when you are in your routine, you will not see changes happening around you because you're in your routine. The only way, you'll see changing is to learn and listen from other people who see things differently to you. That's the only way you'll see things that are different. So there's a famous saying that says, a person always has 2 reasons for doing anything, a good reason and a real reason. And I just want to explore the difference, and this is a very important thing for leaders to understand, is just to understand what you think is the right thing compared to what is the right thing. Okay? Here's an example. This is another one I want you to put your hands up. Have you ever been to a restaurant, had a meal, wasn't quite as good as you liked, you paid the bill, at the end, as you walked out, the waiter or staff say to you, how did you like your meal? And you said, fine, thanks. And as you walked out the door, you said to your partner, we're never going back there again. How many people have done that? Tell the truth, right? Come on. That's the difference between good reasons and real reasons. That's the difference between an empathy gap. That's the difference between what you see happening and what really is happening. So that restaurant says, oh, they had a good night. Whereas in actual fact, you didn't have a good night. And most people are too polite to complain. I just want to emphasise leaders need to see things that are different, and you can't without the help of somebody else. Okay? So the reason is, all the good reasons why you need to make good decisions is that there's different types of decisions you need to make. So simple decisions, you just look at the decision, look at the problem you've got, you sense it. You look up the way to fix your car, for example, and you go and fix it using best practice. If it's a complicated decision, you have to really look at it, really analyse it, then decide what you want to do, and that's what they call good practice as compared to best practice. If it's incredibly complex and you have to then literally, you can't see the problem, you've actually got to stick your finger in and find out what the hell's going on, then you've got to see the response, then you've got to respond, and that's how you learn new practices. And that's what happens in the world today. Everything is way more complex. And I'm just trying to emphasise that if you are suffering from if you see a complex problem, you just have to do something, try something, see what happens, and then move forward as a leader. Okay? And finally, if you're in the world of chaos, it doesn't matter what the hell you've got to do, you just got to do something. Right? See what the hell happens and then do something about it. And let me give you an example. And this is where I want to ask you a question. Firstly, how many people here, you got phones? You're either an Apple user, put your hands up, Apple user, Android user, that should cover everybody. If I offered you a completely free phone of the highest quality, the most expensive one you can get, from the other type, so if you're an Apple user, I'm offering you an Android, and if you're an Android user, I'm offering you an Apple, and I'm offering you that phone totally free, totally the most fantastic phone, would you change your phone to get a free one of the other type? Only condition is you've got to use it for as long as you've used your current phone. You can't give it to your kids or give it to someone. You've got to use it, right? So you have to change. You have to go from one to the other and change. So there's a poll on Slido that says, I'm an Apple user, I'm not going to change. I'm an Apple user, I am going to change, get my free phone. I'm an Android user, I'm not going to change, and I'm an Android user, and I am going to change. Can I ask you to have a vote? It's completely free. You can obviously tell the Apple users are more sophisticated using Slido, can't you? Because all the answers came through really quickly, and also you can see that we're up to 52 votes. So this is a real thing, right? And so at the moment we've only got 20% of the audience are Android users, and 80% of the audience are Apple users. So that means the Android, there was more hands than that putting up, okay? That's actually quite, normally it's about 2/3 rather than, what is that, 77, because I don't know what the results will be, 77 versus 24, okay? So, I'm an Apple user and I won't change. I'm an Apple user, I will change, and for some reason they're around the other way, it doesn't really matter. Android will change. So, if you are the lead, and I work for Android, and we were sitting there looking at this as an issue, and it says there are 75%, 77% Apple users out there, and we can get 22% of them to change if we offered them a totally free service, right? There are 22% Android users in this room, and we can get half of them to change if we offered them a totally free Apple. Wouldn't you like to have people eating lamb where 55% of the people in the room would not change no matter what you offered them? Is that a good point? What did Apple do to have you so in love with your, 55% of you, so in love with your phone that you would not swap it for a completely free phone? That's a complex problem. And it's a complex problem because we at Android were trying to work out how we could get those 22% of Apple users to change. And I do this poll in workshops because it's not about the poll, not about me giving you a wonderfully fantastic answer. It's just showing you that in this room, 2/3 of the people in this room would not change what they were doing even if I gave them something completely free. So you as a leader, the message is 2/3 of the people that you're trying to influence, 2/3 of the people out there will not change no matter what you do. And that was the purpose of the poll. That's a real reason, right? How you get it to do it is so that's the good reason. Now we do the real reason. So, what's the real reason that people will change? What's the real reason that people work? So this is, again, I'm going to get you to do the one last poll. This time, though, you've got to write something down. So unfortunately, you've got to remember a couple of numbers, and then we'll do the poll, okay? So I'm giving you a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is very unlikely, and 10 is very likely. So I'm asking you 2 questions, question A and question B, and then we're going to do the poll, okay? Same scale. How likely are you to help another person from another team with their problem? How likely are you to help another person from another farm, another area, another part of the industry with their problems that got nothing to do with you, right? How likely are you to help them? I'd like you to just remember a number, write a number down on a scale of 1 to 10. Everyone happy? Got the question? Right? That's A. That's question A. Question B. How likely are you to ask another person from another team in another part of the industry, another farm, another area, for help with your problem? And don't just make up an answer to this one, just think about the last time you did it and work it out, right? How likely are you to ask another person from another team for help with your problem? Write your answer down. That's answer to question B, okay? So the poll is this. If your score for A is greater than B, click that button. If A equals B, click that button. If B is greater than A, click that button. Can we put the poll result? There we are there. $49, $53. Thank you. That's getting close. $57. So, 91% of you say it is more likely that you will help somebody else in this room than you will ask for help. Is that fair enough? Everyone happy with that? More than 90% of the people in this room will help you more likely to help you than you ask for help. So my little message is, if you just add up the messages that I've put together, is to be successful, you've got to be collaborative. To be successful, you've got to look at things differently. To be successful, you've got to talk to other people. And guess what? 90% of the people in this room will help you if you ask them. They'll actually all help you, really. The problem is, what's the biggest issue? You don't ask them. So for the next afternoon and tomorrow, you've only got one job, is talk to as many people as you can in this room, and just ask what they're doing and ask whether they can help you and ask their problem and just ask them, right? Do not leave this conference without talking to different people and asking them for help, right? Because 91% of you are more likely to help somebody than you are likely to ask for help. And that's the biggest drawback for leadership. It's never been that high. It's cool. So, what does that mean when you get back to the farm? What does it mean about being collaborative when you get back to the farm? What are you going to do from having a nice presentation and listening? And I'm running 5 minutes late, but I'll finish pretty soon. I'm sorry, I'm getting the wind up. Where am I? You're killing me, aren't you? Right? But I started late. The last was those other scientists that took too much time. Blame them. So, as leaders, you've got two choices, right? The choice is, are you a leader like an orchestra conductor, where you go out and you tell everybody on your farm and you tell everyone you work with what to do and they just do it? That's an orchestra conductor. Or are you a leader like a jazz ensemble, where you all play together and you work together? And I was speaking to one of you this morning, and the question that they asked was, how do I hire people who can think? So I don't have to tell them what to do all the time, because I hire people to do work, and then I spend all my time supervising them, which means I may as well have done it myself anyway, right? That's a jazz person. So when you actually look at the two ways that you can lead, you lead as a collaborative effort where everybody's got brains and you're playing in a jazz ensemble, or you lead of a collaborative effort where you are the boss and you tell people what to do. And you have to learn to do both. When you're the boss and you know what to do, you just tell people they do it. But when you want people to think, you've got to treat them like jazz musicians, and you've got to play with them, and you've got to listen with them, and you've got to let them lead when you not lead, etc., etc. So, and by the way, you can get a copy of all these slides and all that sort of stuff. I should have said that. So the biggest message to take home is leadership as a collaborative effort. The leader is not in control, but has a shared responsibility for guiding and coordinating the group's decision-making and carrying out actions to accomplish what's going on, which is leading with partners and leading with other leaders, which is what you're doing in this room today, as compared to leadership of a collaborative effort, leading your team as a team leader, leading like a project manager. The leader shares responsibilities with the team, guiding and coordinating and the decision-making process and carrying out the actions. You have to learn to do both. In the past, a leader was the leadership of, you just tell people what to do, you're the boss. If you want to survive in the more complex world coming forward, you have to learn to lead with people. You have to listen to everybody in this room. You have to understand what's going on. You have to see things differently and then lead differently. And we are going to give you something to take away that is going to help you. And just because I'm not as organised as you are, everybody here is going to get a leadership packet of cards that we have to send you, because the printer who was supposed to deliver them and I was supposed to pick them up yesterday didn't do it, and we haven't got them here. So what we've got is we've got a bunch of volunteers. Can you please wander up? And we're going to pass out some leadership decision-making cards. So everybody is going to get this box delivered to them, and in this box there are 98 of these cards, and these are cards to help you see things differently. And I want everybody here to get 2 cards. So just keep handing them out. Everyone gets 2 cards. And this is going to take me 2 more minutes, and I promise I'll then shut up, okay? What I'd like you to do is read the 2 cards. There's a coloured side, which tells you what the card's about, and then there's a white side. And you have to read the white side of the 2 cards. You have to pick the card that you think is valuable to you, in your leadership, in your organisation, in your operations. The card that is not valuable to you, I want you to give it to someone else and swap it. And then see what they give you and see if you can find a better card. And I want you to spend the next couple of minutes here and then over afternoon tea if you wish, if you want, is look at the cards, pick the one that's important to you, give the other one away and get their new card and then have a double check and pick the one that's important to you and swap it again, right? Because in wrapping up, now that I've lost their attention, haven't I? They're all too busy reading the cards. It's cool, right? So I'd just like to grab your attention for a sec. Everyone here will receive a packet they're called Flow Conversation Cue Cards. There are 96 cards in the deck. You'll receive a packet, we'll mail them out to you and you get them wherever you are. Your job, there's instructions in the cards. Your job is to sit at the kitchen table with your business partners, with your life partner, whoever, with your kids, and go through the cards and look at the cards and say, are these things important and should we have a talk about them? Because having that pack of cards will give you more clues, more insights, just like having a consultant that you're paying for, except you got it for free, to help you actually have better conversations with the people that help you run your business. Because what I want you to do is see something different. Come up with a different question. Look at your business differently. Come up with a different suggestion and say, maybe I should talk to somebody different. Maybe I should do something different. Because the last thing you want to do is be like that video where you missed the 3 changes that are happening in the industry and you fall behind because you missed what's going on because you weren't thinking, you weren't moving forward. That's the challenge of leadership today, is to get you to think differently and not be like the percentage of people that are not going to change their phone no matter what I give them, and not be the fact that you're not asking for people for help. So that's my giveaway. What we'll also do for these cards, and Peter and I apologise because we should have had them here and we should have given them to them, but we're not perfect, is we will make a short video. We'll send the cards to you. You'll be able to watch the video, which will only take 4 or 5 minutes. You'll be able to use the cards, see what it's all about, and you do not use them by yourself. You use them with your business partner, with your life partner, with people that you listen to, and you just go through the cards and say, are they important to me? Let's have a talk about this, right? Let's think about this, right? And there's 96 cards, card on leadership, a packet on leadership and a packet on resilience. We'll make sure we get the cards to you, and if you want any more, we'll tell you how you can get more. It'll be the best short time you'll spend with your partners to actually have a great conversation. So thank you very much, and it's time for... do I have any questions? No, I hope not. Oh.
Thank you, Alan. Well, as far as I'm aware, it's the first time we've had magic tricks and card games at a leading breeder conference. So we appreciate your insights. We will just take one question. We do have 2 here, but I think they're of a similar vein. So we'll focus on the top one, which is, how do you stop seeing what you want to see and hearing what you want to hear?
The answer to that's really simple. You can't. You've got to get somebody else to help you stop seeing what you're seeing and to help you stop hearing what you're hearing, because your brain is working so busily looking what you're looking at, right? Like driving a car, you're so busy you don't see the kangaroo on the side of the road or whatever. You need somebody else to smack you in the ear to say, hey, are you sure you're seeing the right thing? The answer is you cannot do it by yourself. You have to get somebody else to help you do it. Or you do an activity like those cards, or you try something different, but you purposefully, it's really, really hard to just change this is what I see, I know what's going on, I've done it for 30 years. However, somebody else. The other simple little message is, somebody may say something to you and you go, oh, that's stupid, that's not right. Oh, I've done that before, it doesn't work right. The other message I've got to get to you is, listen to some of those soft voices, or listen to some of the things that you just normally forget about. Say, hang on a second, maybe I should listen to that. Maybe I should listen to that young teenager with the funny phone, or maybe I should listen, right? So I should say, the only way you can do it is with somebody else, and the other way is just please have more curiosity. Have more curiosity. Have you spoken to everybody out in the exhibition? Have you spoken to everybody in the room? Have you chatted to Agbu people? Have you asked questions? And even if you just ask them, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what I should be doing, and just listen to them and then make your mind up, right? So it is tough and it is hard, but you just have to do it.
Thank you, and thank you, Allan, for joining us.
Thank you. And I'm here for the rest of the day, but I'm not here tomorrow, so any questions I'm happy to answer.
And you're around for dinner as well?
Absolutely. Have you heard what dinner is? Lamb 17 different ways. And lamb ice cream. Is that right? Yeah. That's what I was told anyway. So I'm here for the lamb ice cream. So yeah.
Thanks, Allan.